Welcome back to the CEO series. My name's Pete Hull, founder and CEO of Fitstop, and today we have Chris and Kristi, really our first OG franchisees, business owners, dating back to 2017, Fitstop Slacks Creek. We jumped in the deep end together. Excited to chat today, guys. How are you doing?
Thank you. Thanks for having us. We're feeling good.
Yeah.
We're feeling excited. Take a trip down memory lane and hopefully we can offer some advice, to anyone who's wanting to learn.
Well, you guys have seen it all. And what is it, 9 years on, 8 years on, something like that?
It's 9 this year.
9,
Yes.
yeah.
9 years, yep.
Yeah.
You can tell by the shade of my beard, 9 years in franchising.
Chris has got a few
Chris's as well. But such an incredible time together. And we've definitely gone through some highs and lows. And I think most importantly, all grown as people and have so many incredible stories to share. And that's why I wanted to kick it off today. Let's rewind the clock back to 2017. What did you buy into then?
Oh, it's pretty easy. It was your passion, really. passion for the brand, and I suppose I'd been a part of your two owned P2P or Fitstop locations like early days, and just saw how amazing like training and community was, and it really just inspired me, and then secondly Kristi to want to invest into it and just be a part of it. So I think really it was just all for us. It was just the hype and the what we got from it that really just made us like trust it, and we just jumped in.
Yeah, it was like the proof of concept was there. Like you had two that ran pretty well at the time, and then we obviously got to experience that. So like Chris is obviously first, and then introduced me to Fitstop. Like we knew each other, but I hadn't ever experienced Fitstop, and so it was awesome to just be a part of the community. And then we were looking at like doing a business together, but we just weren't sure. And when we were part of Morningside together, that was us. We wanted Morningside at the time, but missed out. But it was your vision and passion as well that definitely directed us in that way.
Yeah.
I think something I always reflect back on is, I guess more especially you, Chris, like you had such a big life transformation through the original Fitstop, P2P Fitstop, as you said, down in Redland Bay. Is that something that you constantly reflect back on and keeps you going?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's probably like, and we could probably we'll probably talk about it later a little bit too, but it's just like, I think with every phone call that I make, like now these days, like doing like, cause I still do the sales and stuff like that, I put myself in the position of myself all those years ago, knowing that every person that, puts their details down or reaches out for an inquiry and stuff like that, um, you know, wants to be somewhere like in a better place or wants to kickstart something and then just not sure how to do it. And I just wholeheartedly believe that like being a part of communities like this can really transform people's lives. And I think I like have that in me I definitely have that in me every time I talk to someone, because it just knowing what the impact it can have on people. And we've seen it like so many times, like, still to this day, like members coming up and saying like, thank you so much for calling me. Thank you so much for
It's
reaching
generally
out.
drunk at one of our Christmas parties.
Yeah.
They come up and give us all the love.
Yeah. But it's like, that's the biggest thing that I think I can draw on from those early days, is that experience and how it can change someone's life so dramatically as well.
Yeah, no, I see that in you guys every day. And you talk about, yes, the fact that you bought into my passion, and that's pretty much all it was back then. But I think ultimately you had already bought into that as a member and saw such an opportunity to give back the same experience that you've had through the product we all love to genuinely change people's lives, just the way that the product had changed yours. Today, we're really going to dive more into you guys, how you run the business. Because again, business has evolved so much over the last 9 years. Quick little bit of reflection, like what do you think has been the biggest changes or maybe not changed over the last 9 years? Like what's still the same, do you guys feel, and what's really evolved?
I think for us, the product has definitely evolved. Obviously, now it's way more curated and thought out, but the core essence of the product is the same. So it's still the three pillar sessions that we run throughout the week, and then the Saturday sweat, and even just like that. I'll say it's like organized chaos, right? It's like those groups of three. It's those pods on the floor. It's like that. That has never changed. And I
Mhm.
think that that works really well in like that forced, interaction with people. It's how we connect. It's how we pair people. That has very much stayed the same, which has been
Mhm.
really nice because that is where Fitstop essentially stands out. Um, Things that have changed is just systems. I think like when we opened Slacks, there was not a lot of systems in place. Like it was definitely, there was a few there, but a lot of it was passion and drive and things like that. So a lot of systems, that Fitstop's built out, but also that we've built out in our own businesses has definitely evolved over the last 9 years, which is good. And then just brand. I think it's just like brand strength as well. So when we opened Slacks, there was, Victoria Point and Morningside. Not a lot of people really knew what Fitstop even was. So now, just with
Mhm.
the sheer size of the brand, obviously we still have those conversations, which baffles me that people still don't know what Fitstop is. But it's like it's more like less common to have those conversations these days. People have either like heard about it through a friend or they've seen it on socials or something like that, which definitely helps.
Yeah, I think we went years with like people not sort of like when they put an inquiry and we're like, "Who's fit? What are you guys about? Like, who are
Mm,
you?" and stuff like that. So that's one of the biggest changes. Yeah, is
yeah,
that brand equity or brand presence that we all have now. So
yeah,
Yeah, I think that's been a bit of a testament to all of the business owners that we've brought on over the 9 years. There's so much power in growing a business with passionate people and that shared knowledge, and that's really been able to amplify what we've lent into, where have the key learnings, where have the most, the biggest mistakes been made, so that we don't have to keep repeating them. And like you said, like that brand equity piece. Anytime up until we were kind of 50 units, probably 50 studios, it was like we kind of were no one. We were that little player that was trying to kind of cut through the market. But as soon as you start to crack that kind of 100 plus studios and really get that brand equity and can lean on each other as business owners in key states, especially like Queensland, it becomes so powerful. Obviously, a lot of opinions then, a lot of emotion, a lot of passion. But it's also what drives us forward every day.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, look, the growth of the network comes with lots of personalities, but what's also been really positive is we can learn from each other as well. And the bigger we get, you're not going to get on with everyone which is normal. But there
yeah.
are different people that you can reach out to that, aligned with who we are as owners and have a good old chat.
But the evolution of the brand as well also comes from a lot of owner input as well. So it's like
Yes,
having
definitely.
those all those extra bodies in there creates for some really great initiatives and ideas and yeah, it just otherwise we would have stayed the same
Yeah.
probably for yeah. So it's good.
Yeah, you guys have always challenged the status quo and thrown in some new intro offers. And I know we used to be very set in our ways from a marketing campaign set, and I think it was you, Chris, that built out the first 2 or 3 week offer, and
Yeah.
really challenged our thinking around 3 weeks and things like that. So no, I agree. We've been put in such a great position because of those passionate minds that are on the ground every single day looking to grow their business. What's been the biggest shift in mindset? Go from kind of one studio to two to now three. How do you guys operate at that different level? And what is the difference between a single studio and a three studio ownership lens?
Or for me personally, I think it's like identity for me. I think you go through
Mm.
levels when you first start out. So, one studio, you've got the flexibility to be in there. So you're coaching, you're on the floor. Like typically, you're coaching a lot of sessions when you first open, and then it's like then moving up into that leadership role, management role, and then when you go multi-site, like that needs to change. Like you can't be on the floor as much. You can't, be across as much. So it's putting structures in place to be able to go like into that multi-site. So and that comes with like identity, and that takes time to change as well. So it's like, you're a coach for so long or a trainer, and that is who you are. And then it's like, oh, now I'm the manager. And then, you go into multi-site and you're not operationally in the business day to day, and it's like, oh my gosh, what do I do like with my life? It's like it's trying to figure out how to become that different role at every stage, and I think that's probably been my biggest shift.
Mhm.
And then what about you?
Oh, I think because I've always sort of been more operational, like operationally thinking. So it's like at every stage, there's always come a point where it's like, how can we do things like better? Like, there's got to be an easier
Mhm.
way to do it. There's got to be a way that we can put structures in place to, you know, that makes our lives easier. And yeah, that's sort of been like my biggest things, like always trying to create different ways to make our operational process flow seamlessly, whether that's one site, two sites, three sites, being able to duplicate that time and time again. And that's taken a lot of time to sort of work that out and get it right. It's never right, but it's just we're just always
It's constantly evolving.
yeah yeah.
Let's dive into this deeper, because sometimes I think we can talk through high level and gloss over the fact that there is so many layers to that. And I think that's where the real value from this conversation will come. Can you guys talk us through what does your org chart look like? Who do you have in different studios? How are you operating at this level that you still have complete oversight and somewhat control, but you're also giving autonomy to the right people in the business to grow and you guys have become amazing leaders. So break this down for me. 3 studios, what's your org structure look like?
I think we were chatting about this morning. I think the biggest shift for us was from 1 to 2. I think if you
Mhm.
can duplicate from 1 to 2 and you've got systems running quite well and you're hands off operationally inside, I think it is easier to go 2 to 3. I think let's like kind of break down the levels. I think we've made a lot of mistakes,
Mhm.
obviously, as you do. And I think that's probably always been our biggest learning curve is like by making mistakes. When we went from 1 to 2 originally, our first like multi-site venture failed miserably. And we had to kind of go back to our roots and, regather and kind of work out what didn't work. What didn't work was multiplying my time across 2. We had a really successful business in Sykes Creek. We wanted to go multi-site. We went way too early without the team structure. So one big, like, I suppose, tactical takeaway would be the team structure, having people in place, a set org chart. So at each location, a manager that's driving across, and they're responsible for their own location, and then enough trainers underneath to be able to cover shifts so that we could step off the floor completely and start
Yeah.
to lead those managers as well. Um, Chris has probably been the biggest. He's probably been the one that's pushed the envelope a little bit more, like whenever it comes to like enabling us in terms of like systems and processes. Did you want to chat through like the sales on that for us?
Well, maybe
Mm.
just go through and like chat about how we're structured at the moment, and then we
Yeah.
can
Yeah,
probably like
and
break
break it
down.
down.
Yeah.
Okay, so my like official title CEO, so I'm more responsible for like the team structure, um, like just leading the team, making sure that they're following process, making sure that culture's like staying kind of as close to it as we can, and then onboarding new team members, and then just making sure that processes are being followed that we've put in place. Chris is more so across, so he's like the chief growth officer, we call him. So he's like responsible for like the
Nice.
Facebook marketing. Like he's everything marketing. So it's like
Mhm.
EDM campaigns that we send out, Meta, Google, like he's across the organic too, like what he's seeing is working and what's not, and how that kind of connects to our digital advertising. And then obviously like financials, like payroll, responsible for cash flow in the business, making sure we've always got enough cash to operate. And then under each of us is the managers. So we've got co-owners, so they're invested in each location, and 2 out of our 3 are currently owner managers. So they manage the locations, and then underneath them is obviously like a head coach or trainers. We've also got a content person that we've just recently put on. So we contract for content, and that's more so for us. She's responsible for like the brand style content, so testimonials, things like reels and stuff like that on us. Stuff that
Mhm.
kind of shows who we are as a group, and then myself and the managers run the other content like carousels and things like that. Um, and then we've just hired a VA. So we've just put a VA on part-time. That's like a bit of a work in progress, but she's actually responsible for like all the admin. So she clears out the inbox, she processes pauses and fail payments and things like that, which has taken a really big chunk off the managers. And then I forgot to mention that Chris and I also do the sales.
Mm,
And that was probably the biggest unlock for us is the managers don't do retention and sales.
mhm,
That was probably one of our biggest unlocks is we had originally the managers running full retention and then sales as well. And what we saw was that they were just getting burnt out, and we really
Plus
identified,
coaching as well.
yeah, like plus coaching,
mm,
running the team, things like that. We just saw so much burnout with our managers. I think the retention role and the sales role, they're two separate roles. And to be able to do them really well, they have to be separated out. So what Chris probably identified at the time was that the managers should be solely responsible for attrition in the location, like rollovers, so making sure, people being onboarded, anything community and member experience, that manager is just wholly and solely focused on. And we actually pulled the sales away from the managers completely. So I run Sacks Creek at the moment, and Chris runs the Redlands. And we saw, we've
nice.
actually seen that was probably our biggest unlock for success is making sure that the managers were just responsible for a set amount of KPIs, and then the sales is completely taken away. That's kind of like a
Amazing.
long-winded, yeah, how
No,
we
no,
got it.
that's really good. So I'll break it down. So your head office team is responsible for the marketing strategy, working with your individual managers who are really the faces of the business.
Yep.
But that head office engine is really driving the attraction component, but also the acquisition and conversion. And then each of the studios are really responsible for executing on the perfect session, the product, the in-house community, the retention components. I'm guessing things like game days and extra challenges and community events.
Yeah.
And they're the individual heartbeats. So you guys get to actually focus on driving the business revenue, protecting it, and seeing it grow.
Yeah. That was the biggest thing is like, because they would, that was like most managers are like that we've experienced have been like coaches first,
Mm,
really love training people, love the community and stuff like that. But when we sort of overlaid not so much the retention side of things and like the community events and stuff like that, but put the sales side of things on top of it, it was tending to break more times than it wasn't.
Mm,
Um, and once we remove that and yeah, like Chrissy said, like had them responsible for like, member engagement, community events, still coaching because that's what they love. Like the locations, um, like more often than not were thriving in that environment because they were in the gym all the time. They were not having to make like sales calls. It was just, and it just like the member stickiness just like really worked like seamlessly at that point, and they were far more happier.
yeah. On average, our attrition is, between anywhere from like 3 to 5% across the group. So like we keep it so low, and that's been a big testament to pulling the sales away to have that manager fully focused on retention. And they're obviously their KPIs and commission is based off those numbers too.
it's great. So touch on really quickly then your sales funnel. So you're driving the marketing, choosing the campaign, see aligning it with Fitstop's campaigns,
Yep.
bringing them people through it. So you're calling the leads and focusing on the communication. Are you selling on those calls, driving them into studio for experience? What's your flow there, and how then do you communicate that to the manager?
It used to be very much like get them in for a first session free.
Mhm.
We definitely have changed our tune on that. And it depends on how they inquire too. So,
Mm,
but
Okay.
90% of the time, since the last probably like 24 months, like we've been selling over the phone,
Mhm.
straight intro offers.
Cool.
Um, as long as we can identify their goals properly, make sure that we can like build rapport with them and connect with them on the phone. Um, they already know, like, and trust us, so we're able to like get them sold on the phone into the intro offer. Because the best way to start, like
mm,
that's what I believe. Like start an intro offer, dip your toe into the water, make sure you can build some consistency and make sure the community is for you and the environment, and then that way you know really quickly whether you want to become a member. Um,
Mhm.
the other way is sometimes we get free trial, like first session free and stuff like that. That would be an in-club experience.
Mhm.
Most of the time we'll book them in for a free session, then we'll convert straight in the club. Um, usually the way that works from like filtering down to like the team and the manager, is like very, very, if we sign them up on an intro offer, we book them in through the system, but then we have like some automations in place where we'll push it through from Grow through to Slack, and then the team gets a full
Mm.
detail of like, hey, we've got John coming in 4:15 on Monday. Here's all of his like goals. He's signed up for the intro offer already. Here's everything he wants to achieve. Here's his backstory. Like, make sure he has a great session. And then they like provide feedback after each session, after each training block, just to give us updates. And then also, if it's like a free trial, then they'll convert them in the club, and then give updates post session as well.
So we've done the training on both pathways.
Yep.
If it's like
Yeah.
sell over the phone, they know, obviously the perfect session is literally what they have to focus on in that
Mhm.
instance. And then same with like first session free, because Fitstop, the brand that's what we're known for, is first session free. So if an inquiry does kind of slip through our marketing and come through Fitstop, they will generally inquire on that first session free, and that's where we book them in. So we honor that first session, get them in for
Mhm.
their session, and then the team have been trained on how to convert them in the location onto that intro offer. So that's really important. We've spent a lot of time with the team. It's a lot of consistency, a lot of training, a lot of follow up and holding accountable. We've had trainers that really feel uncomfortable with, selling in location. So we've, formulated a process that feels really comfortable and wholesome for them to, they're just having a conversation, and it like flows really well.
I
Yeah.
think it's the clarity. If we can give them clarity, like a team have a clarity exactly why someone's coming in, what they're doing, what we're getting them started on, it means that
Mhm.
after, like if we are converting the club, after the session, it's so clear. It's like,
Mm.
Chris said you're going to get started on the, 3 weeks to 59 intro offer. Let's grab your phone. Let's get you started after the session. So we just provide as much detail as possible to take that to the lead as well
Mhm.
as the team, so that they know exactly the steps that's going to happen in the club.
Yeah, so we pre-frame that lead when they come in, that they're going to get signed up after. So it's like if they have a good session, their next step is signing up on the intro offer. So they've been primed, and then the trainer's also like understanding what the process looks like as well. So if I could probably summarize, obviously
Mm.
they come down through our Facebook marketing. I won't add a sell by chat in the process just yet. We can talk about that if we need to. But so come through our marketing, they submit an inquiry, we call them, we either sign them up on an intro offer or they come in for first
Mhm.
session free. But both pathways lead to a simple intro offer. As soon as we're done with the sale, so the member has joined up on an intro offer, that's when the manager's role kicks in. So they've then got a rollover process that they start on. So within 24 to 48 hours, they will reach out to that person, and then our hands are off the process then. So the manager will onboard them, and then check in with them over that intro offer to make sure that they convert into a full paying member.
Great. And I think the most important part of all of that is it sounds very much like you've been very clear with every team member what these paths are and who's responsible for what. Because I think that's where sometimes we can feel disconnected in the fitness industry. Is like, oh, I showed them a good time and a good session, but I thought someone else was going to follow them up, right? So you guys have created that process, have a really nice flow through it. Your team is really aligned with it, and then that makes it really easy to hold accountability to the process and also the KPIs you've set. So touch on KPIs for me. How do you know a studio is performing? What metrics are you looking at?
Attrition's under 5%
We can
at
go,
all
Cool.
times.
yeah. I mean, go through the weekly flows, like
Yeah.
leads. So, like for us is like for what me and Kristi monitor each week for every club is
Yep.
like how many leads have we had, how many sales, like how many intro offers have we sold, rollovers. So how many have converted into full paying members, which is our rollover percentage.
How many cancel out that week?
How many cancel out that week?
And then where
Mhm.
that leaves us as a net growth.
And then
Yep.
net growth.
So we monitor every week. So we've got goals for leads, goals for intro sales, goals for rollovers each week. And then we've got a budget for cancellations as well. So the goal is essentially a net 2, net 3 a week.
Yep.
So we know that there's certain metrics there. So it's like a sale a day, 7 intros.
Cool.
We want 3 cancellations. It's like net 3. We can go through it in
No,
detail.
so again, you're glossing over all the important stuff, but just touch on that for me. Give me
Yeah,
your
yeah.
numbers in a good week. week or in a baseline week to go positive net member of 3, which is everyone's goal and dream, what does that
So
funnel look like? Lead,
it'll be
sale, roll it.
14 leads.
Cool.
It'll be 7 intros, and then a budget of 4 cancellations out would lead you at a net 3. Um,
Perfect.
that's the goal. Like that is literally,
Simplistic, as simple as it is.
yep, that is it.
Yeah.
So it's like our managers know that that is the weekly metric. So it's like 14, 7, and then 4 cancellations, 3 rollovers. We're in a net 3. So like a sale a day and net 3 every week is like super simple to remember for everybody. And that's probably more our goal as well, is making sure
Mhm.
Chris gets the amount of leads that we need. And then we sell and convert, and then the team are rolling over the process as well.
Yeah.
That's our weekly metrics. And obviously attrition is 5% and below. And
Mhm.
then same with cancellation. Pauses is under
Mhm.
5% as well. Pauses are a really good reflection. Obviously, it creeps up in holiday time. December's a write-off. We all know that. Our business is seasonal. But so like in the holiday periods, it will creep up a little bit more. But because we've got the data and we understand like when it creeps up, it's not a surprise. And then outside of those areas, we know if it's sitting too high, the managers are delaying cancellations if the pause rate's too high. They're
Mhm.
delaying cancelling out failed payments. Like there's just like,
prolonged injuries and stuff like that. So
yeah. So it's just another indicator for us to know that something's not right if that pause number does shift up a little bit. So I think that's
did forget rollover percentage as well. So
oh yeah.
every the managers are responsible for our gold standards. 80% of every intro offer that comes through the door rolls over into a full payment.
Yeah. So how we manage that is we do like a wave spreadsheet. So everyone that comes through on an intro offer is put into a wave. So we know when they're rolling over, what week they're rolling over. And then the manager is following that process all the way through. So, from onboarding, weekly check-ins, and then they're having a conversation about a week out from rollover. And then again, it's like going back to when the lead is like always knows what the next step is. It's like when they've signed up, they know that already know when they've taken the onboarding call, what options they've got. So they've got the 3 weeks to think about like what
Mhm.
they're going to roll over into. So that call for the manager when they're rolling them over is not awkward. It's like,
Mhm.
cool, we spoke about this at the start. Like, here are your 3 options. It's either 6 months, 12 months, or month to month. Like, what are you thinking?
Mm.
So like the manager always has a really good idea of who's you're rolling over and who's not. So that's how we monitor it.
Love it. But you're not leaving anything to chance. It's all data driven. It's all tracked. And as we know, data doesn't lie. And it's going to highlight the areas of opportunity in your business that you can lean into and fix really quickly versus just letting it run and
Yeah.
things getting too hard. Have loved that. Let's move into the community space. What are you most proud of over the last 9 years?
How we've built out our lives, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, we're working less. I don't like talking about this because I think people are like, damn them. But we're actually working less
Mhm.
now than what we ever have, and we've got 3 locations. So I
Yeah.
think like I'm really proud of how we've built out the systems and the structure of our businesses to be able to allow us to live the way that we do. Our youngest daughter started prep, so we've been able to pick her up and drop her off to school, and that's really important for us. So just the flexibility for family and things like that is what we're really proud of. So we always had that vision that's what we wanted. So it's really cool to see that come to fruition and allowed us to step back when we need to. So it's been really cool.
I think you absolutely have earned the right to say that, because it hasn't just happened overnight. You guys have been in the business and have really refined it over time. But I think, knowing you guys personally, over the last 12 months, you've become really clear on the life that you're designing and that you're wanting to have together. And then also really understanding that Fitstop can be the vehicle to get you that. You don't have to work the 9 to 5. You don't have to work in your corporate career. You can run your businesses, look at them purely as investments. Obviously, be so rewarded from the communities you're building and the team you're building as well, that are given great opportunity to have careers in the fitness space. But you're now in a position that, again, it's you're doing the right work. You're working on the business. You're looking at the numbers. You're looking at where's your time spent most, so that you're not just busy working in the business. You're actually having contribution towards making businesses better.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I think that's been the biggest shift for us. And it's also still a work in progress. Like Chris and I are having conversations being like, you don't actually have to work like all the time. It's like it can be almost like an addiction when you're a business owner, because there's always work to do. There's always going to be work to do, but it's just prioritizing what moves the needle forward, and doing it in that
Yeah, I think the
number.
most proactive strategy that we've had in the last 12 months is like just identifying areas that we were probably doing the wrong things, like the wrong tasks and stuff like that. Like obviously as a business owner, it's really easy to like for us to get caught in like doing all like I don't know, like the $10 tasks and things like that. The ones that you don't want the managers to do, the ones that, just like silly little admin type of things. It's just like, it's been really freeing to obviously, like Kristi mentioned earlier, that we brought a VA on just recently and stuff like that. And we've been able to like offload like so much stuff to someone else to help us and just frees up our time. Like
Mhm.
still a lot of training going on at the moment with that, but we're also seeing the fruits of that sort of like having her as part of the team as well. So I think that's been one of the biggest shifts is like buying back our time, like
Yeah.
Mhm.
identifying that stuff and like focusing on what we should do
Yeah.
like the most.
Yeah, I think the biggest we got taught on doing like an audit of your time and what tasks, should you be doing and should you not be doing. And we realized that there were, as always, you'll pick up little tasks that you really shouldn't be doing, where our focus should always be is growth. So the minute our focus goes away from growth, it means that we're doing the $10 tasks that we shouldn't be doing. So that's when we brought the VA on. Obviously, the managers are responsible for attrition and growth in that way, and then we can stay really focused.
Yeah.
Guys, I feel like we need to have another episode because there's so much more we can dive into, but I'm really conscious of time overall. I
Mhm.
absolutely love this conversation. I think we're gonna like stop it now because I just want to do a bit of a recap. 9 years in the business, you've gone from single unit to multi-unit to back to single unit to now 3 units. You've been able to create a structure in your business that you're giving so much back to the communities that you're rightfully so get to take a lot now from them, but only because you're so disciplined in your structure and you've worked out what works for you, both utilizing the business systems from Fitstop, but also your 9 years of experience and being so disciplined in the life that you guys have designed so you can have time with the family, holidays, buy investments, do all the things. Couldn't be more proud of what you guys are building. So grateful that you are in this with us and constantly just pushing the business to be better, and wearing that logo with pride every single day. So I just appreciate you guys, and thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's been a great 9 years. Bring on the next 9, hey?
Thank you so much. Yeah,
Thanks, Pete.
yeah. It's been a wild ride. As always, business is never always easy, but it's worth it. It is worth it if you can stay true to where you want to go and how you want to build your life out.
Love it.